The problem is even when you bend on the clay, it soaks down over time. And it's just so annoying. It's really hard to deal with the clay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the gravel disappears.
Yeah. It's got rid of it, too.
Maybe it fell. Ah, it did. I thought that was a weird angle. It broke. It's been 2 weeks. No, I'm kidding. I put this up half-ass, so it's my fault. Yeah, I just had to stick. I'll ask Mark to come back and do something a bit more professional than what I did there. Anything was better than that last camera. But hey, they got the speakers up. I'm pleasantly surprised to see that. Make sure that these are on. Give us a little song. Working. So camera's on. It is on the cellular. A minute ahead of schedule there.
These are William Jordan. He's got
And, fire board meeting the other day, and heard that, the fire building is 2 foot into the city property.
That's correct. So what I've already spoken with their engineer. Fire department's engineer. They're gonna do a property line adjustment. What it will do essentially is give them a portion of the property to make it so that there's a perfect separation. The challenge is that it'll have to be on a slight angle because of the way the lines work. It's not a huge challenge. This won't be 90 degrees for people like me who that know.
How's the title company, this, that?
What do you mean? When we sold it?
everything up into the nineties was never built.
Well, I guess it's just like this property over here, where the city owns rights to their back door.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there was a house that they tore down over off of Pine, and the whole wall of the house was right along the alley.
Happens all the time. I've seen it so many videos now where they're.
Yeah. Shit, did any,
The GIS is wrong, and I explained that to the engineer. It's not as bad as he thought it was.
it's like a 5 foot, I think,
2 foot maybe?
could be.
I just know it's off, so you gotta.
Well, that would explain it, 2 foot.
If
Yeah.
you look at the aerial view on GIS, there's like 5 or 6 mirrors where you can turn on the satellite there. And if you turn one on and then the next and the next, you'll see it jump around a little bit. Because it's not perfect.
No.
So the reality is something different than what each of those shows. It's about 3 feet.
There's two more always changes. Get deep into it now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Know when the polls were?
Sure. Why don't we go ahead and get started? We're all ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and bring our city council work session to order for this April 13th, 2026. Going to lead us. The pledge will order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Counselor Ray, here. Counselor Williams.
Here.
Councilor Hutchinson.
Here.
Councilor Bundy. Here. I don't know where Councilor Evans is. She might just be running late, so we'll just give her a little time here. And then we'll proceed. The next thing on our agenda is special event permit review. We've got two of them tonight.
We do, thank you. Are you ready to jump right into that? Okay. The first one is the Monroe Festival. Mayor Sheets, would you like to go ahead and just speak to this one?
Since I was the one that put the.
Since you're the one that put it together, absolutely.
I was the first one to use it, so I think I wasn't.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put that one.
Only going one day this year?
Where was it? I must have skipped over it. My apologies. Let me just skip it. I don't know.
you not seeing it in your packet?
No, I got it.
Okay,
I skipped over it. All right, so, the festival is Saturday, April 16th. It is the Saturday between, Mother's Day weekend and Memorial Day weekend. That's why we picked it. Come to find out, a lot of events are happening that weekend too. So, and we're having a little bit of a struggle with vendors, but they're trickling in, so. We were concerned about, wineries specifically, because the Corvallis Wine Walk is on the same day. So we're having to kind of reach out a little further outside of our area. And what date did you say?
It's
May 16th.
You did say April.
Did I say April? I apologize. It's been a really day. May 16th, my fault. We're gonna have it, the vendors, the non-alcohol vendors, the regular vendors, the food trucks, are all gonna be in the Croson bus lot over here across the street. We have permission from Brady Gibson to use it. And we're gonna have some information booths just outside of the bus lot area. We're also in here. Was hoping to have, the VFW was gonna have a breakfast, but it doesn't sound like they're gonna be able to do it this year. So, see if we have a backup plan for something else in the morning. Otherwise, in the afternoon, we do have light dancing. Scheduled in here. Another event we're gonna have outside will be axe throwing. That was, yeah, it was fun last time. It seemed like everybody had a really good time with that. We're also gonna have a kids fishing derby over behind the art center. It'll be kind of a 3-hour window between 10:30 and it's 2:30. The trolley will also be operating, so I'm gonna need some help with some trolley tour guide on board. Read the script. On it. Okay, so Councilor Evans is having trouble filming the meeting right now.
She says her Outlook isn't working.
you trying her phone again?
Probably. She just says, can you send me the Teams ID to join?
Oh, this team's ID, I can send that.
Okay, great, thank you.
It's on the.
She can open it with the
Oh,
browser.
yeah.
With the alcohol vendors, OLCC, of course, we got paperwork going with them already. That's a big one right there. Beyond that, trying to think of other, we have a pie eating contest. It's gonna be in the parking lot behind. Well, and we got some other things planned. Not everything's a little fluid still, but we've got about 5 weeks out. I don't know, what kind of questions council have? Is there a problem with it? Oh,
Yeah.
fine, be that way.
Well,
I can't sucker you into volunteering for something.
I would have rather be here, but I need to be.
No, that's so. That's so.
And I have a board meeting.
All right, fine.
I might be back. Just depends on how long it is.
I might want to do it.
I think I'm here, so if you need help with the trolley tour.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I might pull on former resources.
Yeah.
See if they'd be interested in helping. I mean, we aren't approving the application, right? It's just reviewing it, seeing if there's any comments or concerns or anything like that. No, you're fine.
So it sounds kind of similar to years past, but you have a little bit more, entertainment with my.
Well, we've gotten feedback in the past that needs to be some more kid or more family, you know, something for everybody. So that's, yeah, I know the Axe Lord, there are a lot of people that said,
So are the vendor booths gonna be up, set up out there,
they're gonna be in the bus lot.
all in the bus lot, so
All in the
streets on it?
It will be closed.
Oh.
It will be closed.
So food and vendors are gonna be in the bus line,
Correct.
and how does the fishing derby gonna take place? What does that look like?
So I'm not organizing that specific piece of it, but it will be behind the art center. Have Niestrom's on the property, have their permission. It sounds like there's gonna need to be some, landscape modification over there. And they'll have to put up, I don't know if the Niestrom's will pull part of the fence back. Or what, we'll have to make sure that there's some guards,
Okay.
railing, something of some sort there, so nobody falls in.
And how's the liability, like the insurance component to this, is that?
So we are actually relying on the Niestrom's since they own the property to make sure. But we will double check to make sure it is good there. As well.
Somebody can clean up.
If that's entirely possible. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't think that, but anyway. Yeah. What else?
No, I'm good.
So for larger groups, I don't know what the cutoff number is, but there needs to be a plan that the hospitals know. and the Fire department knows and all that, so they have an emergency plan, just
So-
having a contingency to make sure, I'm not just saying for that one, but I'm saying for anything coming up to make sure that we're checking that box.
The mayor has provided a site plan. We did do a little markup on it. I know that mayor is currently working with his team to add in a couple of little elements that we discussed, and I think that we'll probably have a final version to get out to the partners here over the next couple of weeks. Is that a fair?
Yeah, I should be able to write that, let's see how to make it.
Great, that's great.
Which is fine, I just want to make sure that we're not missing that step
Yeah,
Yeah, with the fire
in
department.
future and everything
Right.
else, because
Fire
it's.
department has some.
there's usually, they're gonna,
They have a medical plan.
they're gonna have, well, I don't know if they're gonna have the medical tent, they're going to be, I believe, some sort of. And normally there is an emergency plan. So,
Yeah.
What we do in the past modified for.
Which is fine, it's just nice because they like to make sure that they have extra people on duty in case there's some.
Right, of course, and I know.
Catastrophic thing that happens, it's just a precautionary.
And so just, so I'm clear for our process, we're giving that to the sheriff's office, right?
Yeah.
Fire department, sheriff, okay.
Yep.
And I don't know if you have to do hospitals too. I can't
I
remember.
haven't done hospitals.
I didn't know that we did
Typically-
for Cub Scout day camp, but we had thousands of
Right.
kids. So I don't know, like I said, I'm not sure where the cutoff is on that, but I know that it's a thing.
It's typically you contact the EMS, and
Right.
EMS contacts the hospitals.
Right.
For instance, Corvallis Hospital would probably be on a little bit more staff or because of that event up there plus ours.
Mhm.
And then I don't know about Peace Out though, but they always have staffing issues.
Hopefully the axe throwing is fine.
I
Well,
think-
they're all self-insured. You gotta sign a waiver before you throw the thing, so.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're-
Access for sure.
You wanna grind it in?
That's a rubber access.
No, I know a certain county commissioner that will be here.
I wish,
It was fun, I'm not gonna lie.
All right, any other questions? No? Okay.
so we'll bring this to the council meeting for approval. Coming right up to the event here pretty soon, but I just want to reiterate again, as you all know, because we talked about it a month, maybe a little more ago. The mayor and his team has been spending a significant amount of time, and it's really the end of last year to get all of this together. We've had several meetings, I feel like we're in really good shape for this event, so I know this is coming to you a month before the event, it's really for the benefit of the public, I want to make sure everyone's well aware that this is totally being addressed appropriately.
And I'll mention before we dive into the next one, there is going to be another event application for the Tri-County Business Expo, which actually takes place 2 days before the. So that'll probably, that, we're gonna see that in the city council.
Which is nice because it is kind of in the same footprint, is that right?
Yeah, it's gonna be very close together. Yeah,
Okay.
same area.
Good. So it won't be a brand new
No.
review. Have we done that one before?
Yes,
Yes.
we have.
Okay, so this is also
Yeah.
something we've used.
We host it, what, every 3 years, it just rotates.
It just rotates between here, Junction City and here.
Harrisburg.
So, anybody heard of the bicycle rides Northwest? This is the first time I've heard.
There have been bicycle Oregon, but I don't know about bicycle.
Cycle Oregon.
That was my thought too. Their day one rest stop is Monroe. So it's gonna be a big bike ride. Sounds like a lot of fun. Their request is to use the Monroe City Park Pavilion, and essentially what they're doing, you can see down there, and what is your estimated minimum and maximum attendance? About 200 people over the span of 2 to 3 hours, so you can just imagine the single file, groups of riders that are just coming along. It's not gonna be 200 people all at once. And they're gonna be stopping in to take a breath, grab a drink, maybe grab a snack, and then go down their way. So I would expect at any given moment, if I was chatting with, Stu, 20 people or so at a given moment, and then people kind of keep going down. Bike lane's not that big, and they're gonna be moving people along. That was helpful to hear. They won't need, any of the typical park reservation requirements that I was wondering that they might need. I didn't know if this was their last stop where everybody's gonna have fun and party. That's not the case.
You know what the route is, which way they're coming from or anything?
No, I don't. I have to, yes, I should ask. I guess that they're probably moving in the park.
Yeah, I was on it was just myself and another person, but we went down 99 east, crossed Harrisburg, Lima Lane, up 99 through Monroe, and then over to Bell Fountain Road, and I can imagine doing something like that, staying off of 99 for the most part.
Yeah,
However, the most dangerous part between Lima Lane and here, the Lane County 99 has hardly any children.
oh, okay, that makes sense.
So, it's something, I'm all for it. It's just something I think it's another one where our EMS is gonna have to be ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll definitely make sure this gets out to the fire department. Same with the other applications. They provide trash receptacles. And also the porta potties. I did mention that there's the city park as well, bathrooms. But I guess I understand what they're saying. They're trying to move, trying to get moving, trying to get along. So if there's a couple more bathrooms on site, you can pop into those ones and get moving and down. the road. I kind of like that.
Have you ever done one of these?
No, I haven't. So if
Seattle
you-
to Portland.
really. So if you and I met a guy that started at Niagara Falls, rode across Canada, dropped down 101. We met him in Florence. He was heading back to LA so he can put his bike back on the plane and head back to, where is he from? England.
Wow.
That's what he did with his month and a half off.
Wow.
That's a long trip.
Yeah, I know. I've never done one on anything like that though.
So it's not an overnight stay that we have to prepare
Just
for.
to stop.
No. So there's no sound amplifying, as you can see. They're not gonna have any music, no goods or services are gonna be there. No alcohol, just the snacks. No private security, obviously. They have their own insurance already, and they're doing that for, I guess, all the stops.
And other bike rides that I've been on, usually each stop has some kind of EMS setup, whether it's their own or somebody else.
Oh, that's a good question. They didn't ask for that from us, so they must, if they're doing that, they must be doing it themselves.
They might, usually they do it themselves, they have support wagons. But, it'd be nice to know.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Quarter Flash was here for several nights, Michael Oregon,
What was?
Quarter Flash,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
their very last concert, ever was gonna do.
Nice.
It was wonderful.
I bet it was. Any questions about this one? It is fairly straightforward. She asked me if I wanted a narrative, and I said, I mean, I don't think so. It's really straightforward. And I was thinking there was gonna be 200 people at first until we clarified.
But they have their own insurance.
Yes,
So we're good.
the insurance piece is taken care of. They're doing that at all of their stops. We're gonna ask them for a copy of that, obviously, once their application is approved. They're coming through, 6/21, so we would ideally review this for approval at the end of the month. Once they get approval, they can go ahead and nail down their insurance requirements and get that over to us to have on file. I don't know what, I don't know what kind of insurance you, probably just liability, basic liability for a small number of people. Not gonna be an event when people are staying for a long.
But somebody probably already said this because I was distracted, but it would be nice if we did know where they were coming from and where they were going to, because we might want to even put something in our little newsletter or online or something so people can not drive on that if they don't want to be irritated by bicyclists, or if they don't want to slow down and be careful about the people, other people using the road. That maybe they can, I mean, I know that we don't have a lot of extra ways around, but we kind of know where they're gonna be. Maybe let people know.
Schedule.
You got
Yeah,
it?
I just worded as
I was just looking
making
for
them
it.
aware of it, not
Yeah.
saying I don't like it.
Well, I'm just saying that, sometimes you get people that are not gonna be kind about sharing the road, and so it would be nice to get.
Yeah,
people a
Well,
heads
also the
up.
side of the road that the park is on, I hope they're going.
Yeah. I'm
Is that the
sure,
case?
No, they're coming from Corvallis.
Are they really? So they're gonna cross the road and. Okay.
well, that's gonna, the big bugaboo is gonna be across our bridge, actually.
Well, this is interesting though. They're Corvallis on the 20th of June. Is where they're gonna start. Does it say where, then it jumps to the 21st?
But they're just day rides, so they might be.
So Corvallis is the start and Alsea is the finish on Sunday, the 21st. So they're coming down from Corvallis and then they're going over to Alsea.
That day.
Well, it's either that,
This will be the 21st.
they might go down the Gary Road and then cross over and come up that way.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to Lincoln City and then they're gonna cross back over.
Lincoln City, up on that road.
So they're 7 to 1 too. I know it's here, 7 a.m.
The only time I got hit was actually here. But I was riding my bike and a guy, his mirror hit my jacket, luckily it didn't touch my skin.
Ouch.
And, but, Yeah.
Looks good.
but also going over to Lincoln City, a guy almost hit 3 people. Came around the corner, saw his bikes and hit his brakes and slid sideways. So I'm not gonna. I gave up my breath.
Any questions that you'd all like for the council meeting? I will invite them to the council meeting so that they can attend and speak to anything you might.
Like to know their path, like Jeannie said, we could, sorry, Councilor Cuthbertson, said it'd be nice to notify the residents to be aware of these people when they're out there.
Yeah.
And so if we know their routes and the direction they're gonna be, it'd be good to,
Because it is still slightly in the videos, I think, right?
yeah,
But they're coming from Corvallis.
they're just saying destination and origin and destination.
They've
they're
got
saying
it
the
from
route.
south. If they're coming Corvallis, Monroe, and then over the coast. Got it.
Yeah,
They're coming south.
but whether they come down 99 or come down. Gary
Well, you
Road,
need their
Or-
route, like
We
their.
need to know the routes.
Yeah.
Got
so
it.
That way we can, yeah.
So not just the direction of travel. That's a really good.
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
they're going over the Alsea Falls, we want, people go over that from here over time.
Right.
And there's no lanes on it, so we need to do the best we can to notify people,
Okay.
be aware of it, so.
Yeah, that's great.
Very good. Doesn't sound like the issue with this.
No, and we'll have them, of course, once we approve this, we'll go through the rental procedure with that, the rental space. We've got a block on the calendar now, so somebody can't steal the spot.
Okay, we're moving on now to the last item on the agenda, which is budget preparation, staffing and management. Looks like this information to be up there.
Yeah, so at our last, personnel committee meeting and then followed by our city council meeting. There were a couple conversations really back to back right there. The personnel committee meeting is the one where we went a little more into detail. Tonight, we're gonna go further. Personnel committee meeting is really talking about how I'm gonna be able to continue to support the city with the amount of hours that I have available and the amount of work that we have to do outside of day-to-day business, administrative business. And what this does is it outlines strategy for me to be able to focus on the things that the community and the citizens and the council need me to focus on that are very important. And then be able to show you exactly how we will distribute any of the tasks that I currently own to other staff who can handle those things on a daily basis. Fairly easy, straightforward sort of rote process. So I'll go through this document with you. We'll talk a little bit about what I'm proposing. The big piece though, as I was talking about at the last city council meeting, and there's been a slight update, is that I have a personal family situation actually in Florida, back here now. And if anybody who was going, what's up with that? Well, the reason is I'm heading back to Florida. And it's going to be for a slightly longer period of time. I need to help my mom and her dad get my stepdad, her husband, get into a better, safer situation. We're managing a lot of health issues right now. I know a lot of you have been through that stage in life too, where you're the person that has to just hold everything up. So that's where I am right now. And my goal is to make sure I don't let things fall between the cracks. Nobody likes to feel that way. Things are falling between the cracks. And I was looking at the issue, and the issue really is there's just this ton of work that if I were able to address that, I would have time to focus on the things that we really need to focus. So I'll go through the document. Feel free to stop me as we go and just kind of talk through. The purpose, as I was stating, is to realign our administrative responsibilities with the city of Monroe to do a couple of things. So improve operational efficiency, reduce the overall personnel costs. That's one of the big things we'll be able to do here. Strengthen administrative support, capacity around that, and also focus leadership. So that would be my focus on high-level planning, infrastructure, and funding work. The stuff that needs to get done, a lot of the stuff has been sitting, for years to be addressed. So the day-to-day administrative coordination would be managed by an office manager. The office manager would serve as the primary in-office point of contact for staff. So that would include things like routine operational decisions and administrative workflow. The day-to-day keeping eyes and ears on what's happening around the office around. The planning and infrastructure lead or manager, however you want to call it, that would essentially be what I'm proposing to be essentially a new position that the city would form to retain authority over planning, infrastructure, capital projects, and some administrative workflow. I'll talk a little bit about that here. And grant-related activities. Policy direction will continue to be provided, of course, by the mayor and city council per our charter. So the proposed role, the planning and infrastructure manager, kind of went back and forth between lead manager. We like the word lead here, so that I really don't care what the call me. Well, the current city administrator position would transition to a focused role centered on, like I said, planning, structure, and capital delivery. The scope of work would really be responsible for things like, and I'll break it down, planning and land development. So that would include some of the more critical stuff like land use applications and development review, statutory timelines, all the requirements that go into development proposals. There would be the planning commission coordination and full attendance, acting as the planner for the city. And then code interpretation and implementation. So at a high level, interpreting what the code says, implementing the code, and ensuring people comply with it. The second piece is infrastructure and capital projects. So that would include things like oversight of the water, wastewater, and street system plan. There's a lot of future focused work that has to get done about our system. We've talked ad nauseum about that over the last couple of months. That would also include coordination with engineers, contractors, and partner agencies. There is an alphabet soup of policies and agencies at the local, county, state, and federal levels. that needs to be managed. That include, of course, the 1135 dam removal project, which is a big one. The water treatment plant and system upgrades, as well as the wastewater treatment plant and system upgrades. Those three alone are ones that you all, I don't need to tell you, have been sitting, just waiting and really festering for some time to get it. And so that would also include the project sequencing and implementation, something I've really talked a lot about over the last several weeks. I would take advantage of our timeline, save money. Just the 1135 dam removal project, there's a ton of permitting there. I'm trying to attach as much as I can onto that so that we don't have to go get our own separate permitting from the federal government to do a lot of the stuff that we have to do later on, and save us time, money, kind of stuff. About. So number 3 would be policy guidance. This would be on planning and capital. So supporting long-range planning and system-level decision. What I mean by that is if we do an urban renewal agency and they identify projects to get corrected or developed throughout the city. Thinking about our capital improvement plan and how we're going to fund that. The capital improvement plan still needs to be developed. That's going to be a part of a lot of the documents we produce between now and the end of the year. A lot of work needs to go into that. And that system level decision making really comes down to why this project over that. Why this one in 1 year and this one in 5 years. A lot of that needs to be thought through carefully with the development review committee, with the engineer, with you all, and then there needs to be somebody that sews all that together. There's policy guidance also include advising council on land use, infrastructure, and capital investments. So that would be not only, like I said, the capital improvement plan, but then implementing the capital improvement plan. So there's going to be projects, because we have system development charge dollars available now. And there's going to be out of the gate projects that we want to go and do because this water line needs to be improved or that wastewater line. I want to pair those things together. And then also the comprehensive plan updates and what goes into that, which is the development code updates, transportation system plan updates, overlay updates of the park system plan. All of those things wrap up neatly into the comprehensive plan. That alone kind of just brushed over that sentence, but that's a lot of work. Grant writing and management. So that would be number 4. Coordination of funding opportunities and capital funding strategy. So not only identifying the grants that are out there, but deciding with council discussion which ones we're going to pursue, why, how much time and energy and money we're going to put into going after these monies and which projects are going to benefit. The preparation and submission of the grant application themselves. So that's coming up with the budget, the narrative, and all of the requirements that go into a grant. And then the piece that comes after that, we love to get the money, but there's the grant compliance, the quarterly and annual reporting, and the project administration, and make sure that you don't get boxed out and getting money again in the future. Number 5 would be project or public works support. So that would be continuing to coordinate with Mark. That would be providing oversight on regulatory compliance and reporting. I don't want to throw Mark, he's a couple years away from taking these things on himself, but he's starting to take a few of them on now. I'm giving him what he can handle, like the public maximum daily load. He's taking on that one. That's his piece right now. Over the next couple of years, he'll take on the other 18, 19 reports. Chuck's doing a lot of that at this point right now too, but he's cycling out and he's going to get there. He's got his own stuff, right? So he'll be a support as well. I'll continue to support Mark because we need to make sure it goes into our infrastructure systems. And Mark is expected to keep the systems functioning. But as far as reliability and compliance and things like that, they want to make sure that he's not. So, and also money we're getting being spent in so those are the 5 key areas that I would propose for the role that I'm proposing here. And just to stop for a moment, that's a chunk. I've been doing that, plus everything we're about to talk about. So I can't do all of this right within time, within the expectations of all of the individuals that want me to fix what came before them, in some cases years, as well as continue to keep up with what's in front of us. So I want to talk a little bit about work schedule and availability. I'm with these 5 pieces, I would be able to work 20 to 25 hours per week. And I could work more too. What I want to do is I want to be thoughtful about the city's needs. How much you actually need somebody to handle the high level things. Sometimes it's more than that, sometimes that makes sense. The vast majority of the time, I expect that's going to be really that would include attendance at all planning commission meetings. Attendance at select city council meetings, and that's a good majority, because unless there's nothing related to infrastructure or planning or anything that my hands are on, that would be the only time I wouldn't be at a meeting, and that's pretty much everything that this council is gonna be getting over this next year. So you're gonna see me a lot. It would just be online. So that'd be. Participation in meetings will be conducted remotely, like I had stated. Direct coordination with the city attorney only on matters related to planning, construction, and my assigned responsibilities. That way, there's no messenger between. I can just take exactly what they're saying and relay that back to you directly. But for any other issues that are related to the city personnel matters, so on and so forth, those can very well and have been managed very well by both mayor or Dawn. And I also want to state that, like, if somebody emails me and says, "Help, I don't know what to do here," I'm not going to say, "Well, here's my position description," so I can't respond. You know, I won't. I want to be mindful of the fact that I'm here to advise and support you guys as well. I don't want y'all to feel like if there were something like that. So currently, the way that I looked at this is that third bullet point down is really where I'm thinking in current status. Public knowledge, right now, we pay me 100,000 a year. You pay me 35,000 roughly in benefits. What I'm proposing is not anything other than a full employee relationship with the city. So the mayor and I had a lot of conversation a little bit about what this might look like. And to protect the city, the best thing to do is to be an employee. Because I do have a business out there in the world doing this stuff, if there was a discussion of possibly doing that, the conflict of interest would be huge. And I'd be in another state and I have no idea. So to be quite honest with you, having an employment relationship makes the most sense, I think, for the city, primarily, and me secondarily, but also. This would be with no benefits. And so that would be at 20 to 25 hours per week, which is why I'm saying that the hourly rate will be somewhere between 70 and 75 an hour. If you include all of everything together, the 130, 140, whatever per year, that's roughly what you're paying me on an hourly basis. I would be responsible for going and getting my own insurance. And like most people do, if they work 20 or 25 hours a week or with contractors. And that wage reflects the salary plus the piece that I would need to build, which is exactly what you're paying me now on an hourly basis, just a little more than half of the total amount. So I'll now talk about reassignment of responsibilities. And then at the end of that, we'll kind of see how the dollars shake out. So the reassignment would be to support the transition. Administrative functions currently assigned to the city administrator would be redistributed as follows. So the office manager would be, this is currently the finance specialist role. For several months, I have felt that this is the fact too, there isn't enough finance work for Dawn to have a 40-hour week. So she does a lot of other stuff. We call her the finance specialist, but we all know that she does far more than finance work already. That's the reality of it. So I think it makes sense to kind of formalize the title, what Dawn's already doing, retaining that finance component. So for her, for the office manager or finance specialist proposed role, be to transition with responsibility for day-to-day administrative coordination, budget tracking and financial operations, so accounts payable, accounts receivable already, which is doing payroll. So that's something that I'm handling right now in record keeping. Public records coordination and file management, that's currently mine, I'm coordinating that. Coordination with the personnel committee on HR matters, I'm currently coordinating that with the personnel committee. But what's nice is that we have a personnel committee. A lot of cities that would want to go into a structure like this might think, boy, it might be nice if we had a committee to help with these sort of things, if that's what you're proposing. So it's advantageous that that already exists, and the personnel committee is already really deeply involved with wages and job descriptions. Public records coordination and file management, coordination with health personnel committee, and then routine coordination with the city attorney on administrative issues in coordination with the mayor. So the mayor was already dealing with a lot of attorney related issues prior to me coming on board. Most of those have been ironed out. There was a long list. And I have had a lot of work and time with the firm to get through all of the things that were there. But if other things come up, that would be proposed to the attorney, and then I could get involved if it was directly involved, if it's related to anything, infrastructure, grants, capital projects, things like that. Otherwise, the mayor, personnel committee, or whichever committee it was related to, could stuff like that. Administrative assistant. So the administrative assistant role could be expanded from currently 20 hours a week to 40 hours. That is something that that person is very interested in. They were hoping that this role would expand to 40 hours. We had told Amy that that was something that the budget committee would be looking at. So she came on board at 20 hours a week, thinking it'd be great if she could expand it up, which is nice because that works well for us. That would include a lot of what she's doing already, just a little bit more of it, and a little bit more of a support role to Dawn. So Dawn would have a direct report. Somebody who can really take direction from her and help her in her what she needs, and also learn a lot of the things Dawn's doing that should become prospect. So front desk and customer service. Council and planning commission packet coverage. Meeting attendance and support. So she's already attending, Amy's already attending the planning commission, the city council meeting. I asked her to attend all meetings that I was previously attending. She wouldn't have to do parts because Mark's at that one. I don't think she would have to do personnel. I would let you all decide. My personal feeling is that's a small intimate committee, and we might be slightly uncomfortable with one of the staff people who are potentially discussing things about it there. Right? So even though it's a public meeting, she can show up if she wanted. But that's just my thing. Is that for the vast majority of meetings, she would be there to handle the computer and the technology stuff. And at some point, it may just be, hey, we don't really need that for this long. Agenda preparation and meeting logistics, but she's already doing a really great job of right now. Taking more of the records management and document processing, that's a lot of the stuff that Dawn handles that I handle currently. Having a person dedicated to that would be great. That is a lot of what a city recorder would do. So this could kind of be a city recorder like kind of focus where, the next couple of years, if you want to formalize, that could be a full-on position that somebody like me could do. Like I was saying before, there's some training around that, more than just the title. And as I was saying, the proposed adjustment would be an increase in 20 hours a week to somewhere between 30 to 40 hours a week. I would advocate for 40 hours a week. I think that makes the most amount of sense, and I think that Tom's definitely going to need that. There are weeks where probably not, but for the majority of the time, I think so. And I think this will ensure the sufficient capacity that's necessary to absorb all the administrative duties that are currently being handled. Really, myself right now with support from Don and office. So personnel and HR function. I wanted to talk about that, even though I touched on it a moment ago. Personnel matters would be coordinated through the personnel committee with administrative support provided by the office manager as necessary. She would be responsible for when it comes to personnel and HR functions, coordinating recruitment and onboarding. So if y'all say we're going to hire for this job, she gets a position out there and do stuff that I've been doing on the last couple of months. We have stuff on the website and doing the onboarding stuff, maintaining personnel records, and supporting performance review process. So we went through that just a couple of months ago with the personnel committee and this group. Pretty straightforward, and she'd be great at that. And then the personnel committee would handle with support from legal counsel as needed. Employee relations. There are issues to address between employees. Thankfully, we're a tight, small community, and we don't have too much of that. I've heard some stories, but thankfully it doesn't happen often. Disciplinary actions and policy interpretation and enforcement. If there's ever some sort of complaint or debate or issue similar to what we maybe had previous. Public Works coordination. So the day-to-day Public Works operations, again, would remain under the Public Works Lead. What I would provide is, like I was saying earlier, I guess I kind of just jumped ahead a little bit, compliance oversight. So making sure all of the compliance stuff is handled internally, and I'm not just doing it, but guiding Mark through it, so he knows how to do it, he learns how to do it. Infrastructure planning support, and also, project coordination. So Mark would help me with planning the infrastructure work. He was on the meeting today I had with, the folks from the 1135 dam removal project. Our engineer was giving his opinion on what we should do. And having Mark on board to be able to speak to what he knows about on the ground and to provide feedback and to be a part of that process is important. And then also just project coordination, having boots on the ground, somebody available to make sure that everything looks right in person. If there are site visits, especially contractors coming on the site, there's gonna be, and that would always have been a Mark role anyway, being there to make sure that people are mobilizing to the right places, digging in the right spot, you know, that. And then I wanted to talk on that next page about financial impact. So the total current annual cost roughly is about 130, somewhere between 130, 140,000 right now. The proposed structure would be, so for my role, planning and infrastructure manager role with no benefits, it's 20 to 25 hours a week. Comes out to 72 to 91,000 per year. So that's a saving for somewhere to 20 to 47,000 compared to what we're paying right now. That 20,000 to 47,000 can get allocated to key strategic areas where help will need. Whether it's to support Mark, support Don in a certain area, to hire somebody else on, you have the ability to use those dollars as necessary. And the administrative assistant increase would be 10 to 20 hours a week. That's only about a $10,000 to $20,000 cost per year. And that's included actually in the amount that I was telling you in terms of savings. So the 20 to 47 would include both of those increases.
But that doesn't include benefits for them.
For their, you're right. You're absolutely right. I did not include benefits for them in this calculation. So it would be roughly another 15,000 per year in terms of benefits.
The last time I spoke, I know I missed the last city council meeting, but it was uncertain at the time whether or not she was willing to go full time. Has that been reevaluated?
Well, when she interviewed, she was interested in 40 hours, wanting to be full time. And what she said is if you know, if you guys do make that change, let me know.
Okay.
Because right now I think her schedule is locked in based on the current situation.
But it's something she's agreeable to.
That's what she told us during the interview, yeah. And it doesn't stop you, to be quite honest, it doesn't stop you from hiring another 20-hour week person. Which is another alternative, because then, especially if it's somebody that doesn't need the benefits, I know Amy's in that situation, that's just a personal thing, right? We might not always have somebody like that. She says, my husband covers that right now. That's the case with several of the people who interviewed for that position. So if you had another 20-hour a week role, that would meet these goals, maybe with a little more flexibility. Something to consider.
So I'm not sure I'm following you. So keep her at 20 hours and then bring in on another person? at
Let's say she didn't want to do 40 hours,
Okay.
right? So she foils our plan. Well, okay. Just bring on another 20-hour week person. Our preference would be to have Amy 40%.
That would be my preference, to have somebody full-time
Same
and
here.
have benefits included. That is a desirable option.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if we went to Amy, who's currently with us and doing a good job, and we say, hey, we've got 40 hours available now, and she goes, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. Okay, well, we're not gonna like just let her go to bring on somebody at 40 hours. What we're gonna do probably is bring on somebody at 20 hours a week and let attrition work its way through, and whoever leaves first, and, not be the one who gets 40 hours.
I have something to say.
Okay, so the estimated annual.
Hello? Can you guys hear
Uh,
me?
Yes, hi there, Counselor Evans. You've been on,
I'm-
have you been able to hear us?
I have. I'm sorry to interrupt. I have something I wanted to interject here
Oh, please.
as far as Amy goes. And I'm sorry, I can't see. Is she in the room?
No?
Okay. I know we're talking about possibly bringing her on full time. I do know over spring break, there was an issue for a couple of days with her not having childcare.
Mhm. Yep.
Now, I don't know, the whole time I worked, my employers wouldn't put up with that. It's like, I'm sorry, you knew spring break was coming up and you didn't get childcare. So I don't know. To me, that was kind of a red flag.
I appreciate your feedback, Counselor Evans. Respectfully, I didn't see it that way myself. I think this is something that caught her off guard, and I think it happens to a lot of parents. I can appreciate where you're coming from, though. Thank you.
I think that's
Okay.
what makes our community good, is that we will rally around each other in the time of need, and if she needs assistance, then that's what we will come to the table and bring.
We made it work.
Yeah,
It was fine.
I appreciate that.
I mean, if the door was closed for an extra hour, I think that might have been the only consequence. But,
We can accommodate.
yeah. Counselor Evans, did you want to add anything else in?
Nope.
Thank
I
you.
guess I was just brought up different.
Well, I mean, that's why we're all here, right? Everybody's got a different walk of life and viewpoint, and that's why we have these discussions. So thank you. So in terms of operational benefits, just aside from the cost savings, the operational benefits is that this maintains continuity in planning, infrastructure, grant delivery, capital projects where this city is needing the most, support. That's where I need to spend most of my time, and I can't be doing it. It reduces the overall personnel costs. It improves administrative coverage, and responsiveness, especially if we had some flexibility with staff folks. It definitely, I think, aligns staff responsibilities with strengths and roles. It also gives growth opportunities. Somebody like Don, who would jump into a role like this, could potentially become a city administrator in a couple of years. That kind of, I mean, if you have somebody handling the heavy lifting, the heavy stuff, like this is the stuff I love doing, the project stuff. And it's got a whole world of compliance and regulatory, everything attached to it. What you need is an administrator that can handle a 700-person city. Not that hard to do on a day-to-day basis, but you've got to get yourself into a situation where all these big problems are set. So we'll get sort of my thinking about time frame too here in a minute. And then I think this positions the city to successfully pursuing managed capital funding opportunities a little bit better. Not going to be spending a lot of money for time, but time I'm getting for the city.
Right.
So where I'm thinking about this is in terms of an implementation approach, transition the finance specialist to an office manager role. Address the administrative assistant hours. Realign workflows and responsibilities so that I can focus on the things that I need to focus on. Establish regular coordination between roles. And then review the structure after 1 year. So I propose that this would be a 1-year project position. During that 1 year, we would be able to complete our comprehensive plan, our development review code, get through the 1135 project to the point where at the end of the 1 year, we'd be just about ready to go in water and break ground. Get the moratorium issues dealt with, the water treatment plant upgrades done, the wastewater stuff done, the backlog of planning projects, the UGB expansion, a lot of different things could happen within that 1 year period of time. And then council can decide after the 1 year, if you'd like to continue that structure. There's more work to do. We'll see what it looks like at that point in time. I also don't know what my life is gonna be. I have no clue. I could be back here, in that period of time. You know, or I couldn't. I don't know. So this, I think, gives the flexibility that both the city needs and that I need to make sure that nothing's gonna fall between the cracks. And the big thing, and I think this is the quiet part that needs to be said out loud, I think everybody already knows, is that I can't keep on as satisfied. I simply can't. So if this is really the only way that I'm able to. City, because I like to make sure I'm taking care of our customers and our city and doing my job right. So that was the last line item. Any comments or questions from folks? I know you were thinking pretty intently looking at this stuff.
Oh, I like it. It's good, you know, it's lined out. Good plan. Which, I don't know.
I like it too, and I am a fan. I am not a fan of the title. This is the consultant role to me. This is very much outlined as a consultant role. And I would like to have us elaborate a little bit further on why we wouldn't just consider it a consultant role versus have it be a city employee.
You can. If you like, I can ask the city attorney about this. There's two pieces. There's the legal piece. Can I legally do it? My attorney for my business says that
You can't?
I can't, yes. The attorney for the city, based on my knowledge about local government and how we operate, if I leave the city administrator role, I should be able to come in and work as a consultant with you. But there's a third piece. This is the one that y'all want to think about the most, and that's the optics. You want to make sure that the public fully understands and sees what's actually happening there. Because we all just went through the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. One of the things that I have to tell them about is the fact that I own a business and I do these things. And no, I don't do that in Monroe. I'm an employee of it. It could get hairy. It could get interesting. I'm okay with exploring that. And I'm also okay with it being an employee position with the title of consultant. I don't, like I said, I don't care what you call me. At the end of the day, I'm gonna do the work and you're gonna pay me to do it. If we move forward in that direction.
I'm gonna try and understand the optics piece, and it's not the optics necessarily, it's the SCI filing. I think that's the Oregon compliance. Is that what the concern is?
Partially, but also will the public see it as, I'm rather than being an employee of the city, I'm a consultant running my business and working on your behalf, stepping out of the administrator role into that role from the public to a private role, but handling the same work. I don't think on its face there's anything wrong or illegal about that, but will the community do it that way? Will they think about it that way? Will they feel like there's any impropriety there? Because the question isn't, is there impropriety? It's, is there a perception of impropriety that's possible?
And I could see that, where people would think, well, is he really working for us since he's a consultant now? And where he's an employee, they maybe there might be.
As a consultant, how we dictate this time, like, every project you work on will have its own bucket. And the hours worked under that bucket will need to be.
I have to do that with every.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
That's
so
true. That's
that
true
we
whether
will
it's
be able to
employee.
prove that.
That's true whether it's employee or not.
Yeah, I would,
So I think the question is,
Yeah, I mean, to me, I see both sides of it. But I could see where people could say, oh, well, he's a consultant, then how can we trust him for the city? The one question I was gonna bring up is, what about LOA? Do we have LOA? I haven't been on the personnel committee for a long time. We have LOA.
what does that leave of absence
Yep,
for what?
for any,
I mean,
mostly family stuff.
It's outlined in the employee handbook. I don't know how current that is.
what is, yeah, so we have federal
Yeah.
law, state law.
Federal and state laws allow LOA for this, so part of it can be part of that.
Well, whether it's FMLA or.
Yeah, it wouldn't,
BSNO or
Yeah.
LOA.
Right.
You know, it's all those.
I'm on leave right now, at this moment, I'm unprotected. I'm just working. I mean, so that would be the same deal anywhere, you know, I mean, we go with this, it could be whether it's employee or contractor, work's gotta get done, I've gotta show up to meetings, I gotta get things done by the deadlines. part of the reason I'm going to a lower number of hours per week is to make sure that I'm not biting off more than I can chew with everything I have going on in family. The ability to work asynchronously, so I don't have to be in my chair from like, 8 to 2, or it's a problem, right? I can work at midnight. Because in reality, I might have to do that sometimes. I'm very used to that kind of lifestyle. That flexibility gives me what I need to go handle the things with my family and I can be with them. All of that works nicely for me. Whether it's an employment position or a consultant contracted position, I honestly, I would leave that up to the wisdom of this group to decide. Because I honestly don't have a stake.
Could we take it as proposed and then review it in 3 months and see if we want to switch one factor? Or,
I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm specifically not a fan of several points. So some of the stuff that he is gonna get done, he's gonna do plans, right? But then you talk about the implementation of the plan. Writing a plan is one thing, implementing it and seeing it through, 2 different worlds.
Which one are you talking about?
Like the comprehensive plan, the implementation of the comprehensive plan. I wrote elaborate on what that is going to look
Yeah,
like.
that means
You also want us to reevaluate this new, direction that we're moving in a year, which is something that I would do with a consultant too. So this feels very consultant. I have been working in the consultant industry. That's really what it is to me.
So this is where I'm a consultant myself. I've been a consultant for a long time. And I've had the employee, you can become an employee, Dan, and then they hold that in front of me and then they, oh, well, we can't pay you as much as when you're a consultant. Well, and I feel like there's some sort of security with being an employee more than a consultant. That's just kind of been my perception all along, although I've been a consultant forever. But it's like for the same company and I'm actually changing jobs now. But anyway, I just feel like there's more security and I feel like maybe TJ will feel more secure being an employee. And I don't know if you'd feel more supported or not as an employee versus a consultant. I don't know.
I'm used to being a consultant, so I wouldn't lean on that too much. I'm really looking at it from a city's perspective.
Okay.
When you have somebody working on things like comprehensive plan, land use code, infrastructure projects, you want to have a close relationship with that person. A consultant can come in and do that. I've done that for cities. But I think that this community, from what I've heard at the meetings and from counselors, you want to know that that person is invested in important. And one of the ways we'll communicate that with having somebody working for the city. To your question about the implementation of the comprehensive plan, the comprehensive plan needs to get done by the end of the year. The implementation of that is making sure that all planning applications meet it. So it's just being a planner, essentially. And that's all that means, is implementing the comprehensive plan in that anybody who brings forward a proposal for this kind of industrial use or this kind of commercial use, their proposal complies with that new comprehensive plan. That's essentially it.
And the comprehensive plan, we're basically updating the blueprint for the 20 years.
Right, no, and it's extremely important,
It
right?
is.
But it, in order to write plans, it takes a certain, you have to like to be able to write plans, but your plan is only as good if it's sitting on a shelf and it never gets looked at like our plans have in the past, right? There's an implementation component to a plan. There always is. And I very much like the direction that you have taken us to get to these next steps. And I think your vision for what our city needs to look like in the next 20 years is exactly what we need. Don't get me wrong. I just am not a fan of, this is very much consultant type work. I think it's great. I mean, I have no problem with that, but in my experience being a consultant, I didn't care whether or not I got hired on by the company, right? I had too many irons in the fire to like.
Well, and going back to TJ's point, we don't know in a year, he might come back and, we may be changing things up and he becomes an employee. Well, more than, an employee with benefits or, it could change. I'm thinking a little further ahead, maybe a little flexibility for him so we can keep him. I don't want to lose him. We have had long conversations and I don't want to lose him. And so I'm holding on to him as best I can, trying to figure out what we can do to make that work for him. But I know family obligations we don't know what that's gonna look like, and it is what it is, there's that.
And Councilor Williams, one thing I'll mention is that the comprehensive plan, even though we call it a plan, it's not the plan in the way that you're thinking of it. It's really, the guiding document for like 30 years of growth and city and how every single applicant needs to comply with that plan. So our land use code and our comprehensive plan work together, and you have to open it up every time there's a land use application, to make sure that that plan applies to this project. So it never just sits there. It gets implemented on a daily basis.
Okay. The other concern that I have is that when, this looks like about 3 years worth of work, really and truly to me.
I agree with that.
And so at the 3-year mark, what does that look like for you at that time?
Well, as I mentioned, I was very honest with the, interview committee when I came on board. What drew me to the city, is the ability to work on big projects. These are the things that I do. This is what I love doing. And there's a lot to get done. So at the end of 3 to 5 years, even if I stayed on as the full city administrator, I might be handing the keys over to somebody who can very easily handle a pretty easy day-to-day job now. There's none of that big high-level stuff left. So my interest level and my skill set would be who else would.
Right. Yeah, no, and that's, yeah, we want you to feel fulfilled at all times, right?
Yeah.
That is very important.
But I want to get, these are big projects. I want to see these come to fruition and get done. I think you're absolutely right. About a 3-year time frame is absolutely correct. If you include the city hall, 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I agree.
But
The walking bridge over the river.
at the end of, yeah, that's part of the,
We'll have a plan.
that one's one of the ones that we're doing right now.
Yeah, part of 35, yeah.
But I hope you appreciate that. And I hope that folks aren't upset by that, right? I never really plan to be here like 20 years.
No, not, no.
Well, and truthfully, the planning and infrastructure manager, that's just a job title that can be held by an employee, a contractor, or a consultant. And a consultant is a contractor in another term. So that's really nothing to really worry about there, but I kind of get where you're coming from, but on the other hand, I kind of want to keep that carrot there, keep them attached to us a little bit more. And, kind of, hate to say it, so that I don't want to cut the umbilical cord.
I don't think it would cut the umbilical cord.
Yeah, but that's true. I mean, that's that's just the way I feel.
yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's why we're having this conversation.
And some of us who've been here for a while. We've been through the city administration.
Yeah.
And all, you can see.
And the public perception. I think that all of a sudden, like a consultant to me is somebody who comes in, does a job and leaves. And I'm not saying that that's not ultimately what happens with other things, but an employee feels a lot more invested in what they're doing. The consultant drops by, maybe their opinion takes off kind of thing. And I think that that could be a huge perception issue with the community. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but
And
yeah.
The way that we spend our, just dawned on me actually, the way that we spend our grant dollars. We have a certain amount that we can give to consultants, and that is specifically identified. The vast majority of it goes to staff labor. Because a lot of these projects were gonna be done by me as a staff person.
Mhm.
So you can continue with that financial structure with under an employment role. Might be a little more challenging, with a consultant. That's one thing that comes in. Even though you're already paying me out of general fund, so there wouldn't be a huge, to argue against myself, there wouldn't be a huge issue
Yeah,
here.
I agree.
But there are going to be some grants where my time is gonna be paid for by those grants, and it's nice to keep the general fund topped off if we can use the money from elsewhere. Something to think about, and I'm okay with asking the question first off to our attorney about what that looks like, so that you all can weigh both the optics, which you already have a good understanding of, versus the legalities. That would be fine.
Yeah, I would just like to have a better picture that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed.
And I'm coordinating with state agencies. The other thing that comes to mind is currently working with like the Regional Solutions team, all of those folks. as an employee of the city, I have a direct relationship with them, government to government. That's always been the case as a consultant in the past, but there's always a little bit of a challenge there with authority to move things forward. You usually have to go get buy-in from like city administrator or city manager, which is different because I'd be leading that show rather than working directly with somebody who's already leading. So that might be what we should think about. So what I will do, what I can do is I can go to our attorney and ask, what are the moving parts there, the trade-offs?
But we do.
But, yeah, absolutely. Are there other thoughts? I mean, aside from the, like,
I mean, I do have thoughts, just
Yeah.
like, would like your perspective on, you know, the office manager role on the finance piece with Dawn. Do you think that this would be a bit of a flex for her, which is not a bad thing to me, right? Like, we want to flex a little bit and grow into our roles. But is this something that you would think that, would be something she's interested in? I don't know if you talked to her.
we've
Okay.
talked pretty extensively. So Dawn's somebody who, is very smart and, inquisitive. She's curious about things. And I think over the past couple of years, she's been withheld from doing a lot of new stuff that she's always wanted to do, especially around the budget. I mean, I talked to you before, and Dawn was very honest with you herself at the last meeting, that there's a lot of stuff she hasn't learned to do. That's mainly because our last city administrator had hid it from her and said, just had her do little tasks and report back to me, but never gave her a full understanding of what the big picture was. She was really frustrated about that. I want to know these things. I want to learn. I want to grow. To me, I think that, is this a flex? Yeah. But does she want it? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good that it's a.
Yeah, absolutely. She wants to grow. I have a lot of respect for Dawn. I told a lot of people, I don't care what your education is. I care about curiosity and drive. And those are the two things that Dawn has. She already does an amazing job with directing staff. I asked her to, make sure this gets done in the last couple of weeks, and more got done than I thought was gonna get done. Like, I felt so good coming back today, and everything just looked in really good shape. She and I have talked quite a bit, and I think a lot of times she knows what to do, but her job description says that she has to come to me to check. And so what's happening is she goes, boy, I think I already know what to do, but I have to spend now 15 to 20 minutes to go ahead and email TJ. She's gonna spend 15 to 20 minutes, maybe more, thinking about it, responding. We might have to meet about it. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell her to do the thing that she knew was the right thing to do already. I think there's gonna be some optimization.
Thank you, that just helps.
I have another question.
As an example for you, I've asked 2 weeks in a row now to get some gravel off the pile, to fill some potholes up here. And they said, no, we gotta talk to TJ. So are you going to give her or Mark the ability to go, yeah, come get gravel and fill in these potholes?
So first off, I appreciate that. I've been gone the last 2 weeks. So I've had probably about 150 emails coming in this morning, just because I let everything just go dealing with family stuff.
I get it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I know what you're asking is, hey, can they do those things for you? And now I don't know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, just up here on 7th Street, got some potholes in front of my dad's rental house. He'd like to have filled in because he's switching tenants. And I was gonna bring the tractor down because you guys' tractor's broke and put a skip of rock on there and fill in these potholes.
Like yourselves to do it, or you're gonna?
Yeah,
No, we really,
see, that's the thing.
we can't do that. I mean, I could ask our engineer, but a lot of it, there's liability issues, right?
I get that too, but I also know that 7th Street never got finished.
Okay.
And, that was under Frank's mayorship.
So Tim, we have money to do that. We have well over $1 million in funds to do those projects. We just never got a capital improvement plan that legally allows us to unlock those funds. Part of what I'm working on right now is so that we can do that. The ORS says you can have all the money in the world in that account, but you can't spend $1 of it until you have a capital improvement plan that says, here's all the projects and how much they cost. And we've just never done that. And so it's always been somebody going out and just, hey, I'll take care of this one if you get that one, I appreciate what you're saying, but Mark can't get out there and just, he might be able to fill the pothole briefly, temporarily. Sure, I can ask him to go do that. I can't have citizens go.
Well, somewhere along the way, you guys asked for volunteers to do stuff.
Yep.
At what point are you gonna start using them over just keep going with this BS. I
Not
mean,
for infrastructure.
I understand.
Not
But
for
I don't-
infrastructure repairs. You wanted water plants? Yeah, that's what our volunteer group will do, like things that they can't get hurt doing or can't be in the, that's the right of way. I mean, we can't,
Well, previous administrations have
I know,
made rules where citizens were supposed to know the right of ways next to their properties.
yeah, fair enough,
And I do that, but it does create a liability issue.
yeah, I appreciate what you're saying.
When's the tractor coming?
Today, showed up already,
Great.
it's here,
Do I need to come down and put a request in?
for what?
For fixing a pothole up here.
You can put a request in, sure, I mean, but it depends on the size of it, I don't know if I'm gonna have Mark go and buy, yeah, that's a professional job.
No, you got gravel up here. It's gravel. It's already gravel. It's not. It's not asphalt.
road?
A lot of gravel streets.
Up here at Seventh Street, they paved this much and they left 7 foot between asphalt to the curb and gutter sidewalk.
I'm so sorry, where is this?
Straight up the road here, Main and Seventh.
Yeah.
They only can't miss it.
Okay, so that's something that goes into our CIP. If you've got a 7-foot section, and now I'm thinking you've got a hole in the middle of the road that wore away
No,
over
no.
time. No, okay, what you're talking about is a section of road that never got paved? No, we can't do that. It's part of our capital improvement plan, absolutely. That's a cheap one too. That's something that we can, that's
It's
what.
been this way since Frank Thayer was mayor.
He could have done the CIP himself if he wanted to.
Exactly.
If he really wanted to spend the money, he could have just written the document and had it
I
on
mean,
6
it
years
was,
ago.
it was talked about with campers, it was talked about with, I don't even think it's been brought up to Dan because, you know, at some point you just go, give up.
Look, I want to get stuff done. The only way to get stuff done is to make sure that I get step by step out of the way on timeline like I've been proposing to y'all. So what I'm proposing tonight is a way to make that happen.
But if you're going, are these people gonna have the authority to kind of step
Absolutely.
in there?
Yes, I mean, on things like that, yeah, we are gonna have that in the capital improvement plan, we get it scheduled. There's really no need for me to be out there on the street, watching it, Mark will be there to do that. But as far as like, one of us going out there, no, but we will absolutely give them the authority to go out on site and manage these projects.
Okay,
What were you gonna say?
I just want to say that I'm thankful this looks very well thought out. And I know that you've been dealing with a lot of things, so for you to be able to come up with a concise plan that's very well thought out like this, I'm really impressed. And thank you for that, because there was a lot of clarity there in that. I know there's gonna be some nuts and bolts of how exactly things get fleshed out as we go along, but being able to have this instead of, hey, there's a situation, really, that's very comforting. So I appreciate you coming already with a plan to try to transition and make things a lot easier. That was really nice.
I love my job, I love what I do, and I wanna do it well. And I needed to come up with a way to do that, I can't continue.
And this showed that thing.
So I guess what I can do is speak with the attorney about the trade-offs, moving parts with the contract piece, and see what she has to say.
Yeah, just to see.
Yeah, and have that ready, for council meeting.
And you'll have the financial breakdown on that too, whether funds we can use versus funds we can't use.
Well, that's a factor. We don't need the attorney to,
We don't need that, okay?
No. because I'm managing our grants, I can tell you there's a small sliver of our grants that allows to pay consultants. A larger chunk of our grants that allows us to pay staff, which includes Mark and other folks. So that would be a small challenge, especially if a lot of my work is gonna be focused on infrastructure. But I don't want that to be the end all. Because like I was saying, the flip side of that is we're already paying my role, which includes these steps out of the debt fund. And we're saving them. So you could look at it. I'm gonna answer that question because I think it's important. And it's so interesting. I find myself advocating for an employee role and a consultant for the last couple years. I think in terms of optics, I think my view, the only reason I brought it up this way is because that's for the city. Because we have ownership of it, we have control of what I do, and that kind of stuff. What I'd like to propose is that we bring to council at the end of the month, a proposal for consideration at the meeting. I'm gonna be, I don't know if I'm going to be physically at the meeting. We're gonna be driving. Bring the dog in the car, in the RV. So, it's gonna be, quick ride. And anyway,
No, it won't. I've done that. I've done that twice.
10 days.
Same reason, sick parents, it's no fun. I'm so
This is
sorry.
what it'll take if we do 300 miles a day. So we'll be the end of the boat.
Maybe.
My brother did it before,
We might stop and check some things out or something.
Yeah.
two drivers.
Yeah.
Walk with it.
It seems like my whole life is always focused on like, get there, hurry up, get the thing done.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'll be here at the council meeting or not. If I'm not, I'll be online, but of course it will be in the packet as a proposal. I don't know how to structure it, so I would find out from the attorney probably sooner than that next meeting. Because what I want to do is put a proposal in front of you that you can vote on. What I don't want to do is give you two options that we then have to
Right.
choose between and then wait a month.
We do, is that like a special meeting or can we just, can you email all of us?
What I can do is, you mean once you give me an update?
Yeah.
Yes, I can email all of you. I will BCC all of you so that you cannot respond.
Okay.
And there are no serial communications so that we are maintaining ethics laws. But yes, I can do that. So that way you'll have the information that you'll need. And then what I can do is put before you. What I can do is put together essentially an employment structure. And I could, depending on what she says, I could also have an alternative
Mhm.
that you could choose between. Because the job description will be exactly the same, if I think about it. Like 80% of it, whether it's an employment or consultant, it'd be exactly the same. The only difference is the employment type. Like the 20% of the document is different, so I could technically put both. Thoughts on that?
How good was that?
I think, and then as far as the information we had, the only thing that we would need like updated was that we didn't have the part that had the, benefits. For the employees, right?
Oh, if Amy comes on full time,
Right, so what it would look like this way or this way,
right,
and that benefit piece to that.
yeah, that's exactly right. So I can include that in.
Although if she may not opt for the benefit.
That's exactly right, she may not choose to take it.
Right,
But we still need to account for it,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just so we have all the.
yeah.
yeah, just so that we can see. That it shows that we did our homework.
What's nice is that as Don works through budget stuff, we're freeing up 20 to 40 or so $1,000 to be able to have someone support her. And I have already mentioned to the mayor and to Don that there are folks in my network that I would be happy to just touch base with and say, you know, could you help them out during this step or that step, whether it be an audit or the budget piece. And then also myself, I'm willing to help you. I just can't own it. I wouldn't be the owner of it anymore and the budget officer. That would be handed over to Dawn. And so I want to make sure she has the support she needs. So Harrisburg is offered to provide supports. And you have that $20,000 to $40,000 to dip into to bring in somebody who can sit down like on the clock and help you. That's a lot of what I was thinking about here. Like, how can I free up my time, free up your budget, make sure Dawn's taken care of and the office is working right? What?
I said a consultant.
And in a lot of ways.
Okay, anything else on this topic? We'll be talking
When is the next personnel?
this week.
Is it this week? I thought that was even.
Saw it on the calendar.
Yeah, I saw it this morning when I popped in. It's Thursday.
Was it on
Is
the
it
calendar?
Thursday? Is that the one that's on Thursday?
I didn't,
Or is it
Thursday
Wednesday?
is economic development, right?
I didn't see those.
Oh, I thought that was this week.
No, Wednesday. is
Wednesday's personnel.
Personnel.
Thank you, yeah.
Okay.
And Thursday is economic development.
All right.
That's the other thing, you guys, like, part of my role has been so challenging, because we have like 6 committees. And I've got to do like a marathon day on each one of those. Oh, Lord. So I'll be happy when, Amy can help out a lot of it.
Maybe we had Bart.
I'd like to talk about like the personnel committee if we, for agenda topics. This is kind of like, the pay scale and what current rate they're at now and what proposed rates we should be looking at for Dawn and for the administrative assistant.
For the coming,
With this new transition, this proposed new transition, I'd like to see what that looks like.
so that's something, and I've spent a good amount of time talking with Don about this. We talked about this as well when we gave pay raises. Donna, there's a lot that she will be learning over the next couple of years to come into the wage that she had over these last few years. So over the last 4 years, she's seen about a $10
Yeah.
increase per hour. A lot of that was because I think that she had to handle a lot of things and it just stuck. Currently, if you have somebody that is in like an administrative or a finance specialist role, not a finance manager, we pay finance managers what Don makes. Finance specialists usually make $20,000 less. And that's what the LLC wage study shows us too, which is going around right now. So if you were to increase Dawn's wage now to reflect this added work, I don't know if you want to do that right now.
No, I just want to see where she's at and what the step looks like and moving forward and what she needs to achieve in order to bump up each step.
Yeah, it's because one of the things personnel needs to do is we need to redefine, I think this might be where you're going now, that
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. We added that tier, the
Yeah.
7th tier, so we need to do the 5 tiers.
Mhm.
Yeah, and revise that, absolutely.
Okay.
Actually, I think that might be on the agenda. I haven't looked at my list yet, but I think that is on the agenda.
I'm sure that's on Wednesday. I thought I looked at the website today. Is that on Wednesday?
Or, you know, with the-
Yeah, because economic development is.
I'm sure. Yeah,
Is it? There's nothing on the 15th.
so it's not showing.
That's what I didn't, I was looking, I'm trying to figure out when it was.
I looked at it today and I was like, sweet, I only have a Thursday.
Yeah, personnel's not on here.
I was looking today, so.
Still, okay. We'll add personnel
Well, add it, okay.
to the calendar on here.
We'll try to attend.
It already existed. I mean, on the city's website calendar.
No, it didn't. It wasn't on there, was it?
No,
I clicked it.
I'll be there. It's a reoccurring meeting that is on, I put on my personal calendar. Because I know that it's every month at the same time. I had no idea it wasn't on here.
Yeah, I was searching and.
Do you all wanna, there's a lot going on. Do you wanna push that to another week? Because what I'm hearing is that it might be challenging to get to that meeting. I have a lot that I mean, I got in this morning with 150 minutes. So if you wanted to do the following week, you could do.
I mean, I just have 2 meetings, this would be 3 meetings this week and I'm all over the United States this week. I mean, if we could, that would be great, but if not, I can.
Mayor,
totally
if it's okay with you, I'd like to email the committee and ask for proposed
Yeah, that's fine.
times to reschedule. That'll allow each of the committee members to respond with times that work well for you over the next couple weeks.
Okay, great.
And then we'll reschedule and that will go on the public calendar.
Okay, is economic development on the calendar?
It is, yeah. All of you are there.
It is on the calendar on the 16th.
The only one that wasn't there that I thought wasn't there was Parks, which we added on. But now I never realized that personnel wasn't on there.
There's street sweeping on there.
Yeah, that's on this, that's on that.
Made
Yes,
the cut.
They require us to do
I'll
that.
have to be wrong.
You tell us we have to tell the public when it is.
we should probably double check. Are we doing economic development?
Fine, Thursday.
Are you ready for it?
Yes, I'm ready for economic development.
He said.
I'll have to do it.
And I'll be remote.
Assuming I
Oh,
have.
here. Well,
Well, supposed to have internet.
Well,
Short and fast.
Read stats. It was-
So let me just double check and make sure everything was good on my calendar. If that's that.
It was a big one. Yeah.
I am available for the economic development committee meeting if you guys want to reschedule that, I'm fine. But
Well, my only concern is if we reschedule too much, then it's like, it's gonna create a problem.
it does,
For
yeah,
you.
it's, because you have to pay for it later.
Right, it's like, it's just one, last
Just
thing to
do
worry
it.
about. Yeah,
That's the one I'm really ready for because it
Okay.
touches on all the stuff we're doing.
okay. Choose to it. Okay, would you like me to notify the committee members? Save you a step.
That'd be great.
Are we allowed to do comment really quickly?
Yes. Go ahead.
I may have to resign my position. So I'm just giving you a heads up. My mother-in-law just went into hospice and, it's taking a lot of our time. And so until we can figure out what things look like, I will give you a better idea in a couple of weeks, but I just wanted to give you a heads up.
Okay.
We do have a leave of absence available for council members too. We do, we've had
Well,
that.
my term is at the end of this year anyway, so,
I'm just giving you an option, so you don't
oh, okay.
feel it. Fully abandoned.
So you
Okay,
know,
I can do that.
so you know the requirements, if you decide to, pull the plug and go, you gotta find us something.
And to find a spot.
And you gotta stay on every committee.
I won't do that.
I mean, it's with a heavy heart. I mean, I wish it was under different circumstances, but,
The budget committee,
sorry,
budget committee, sure.
yes,
You also have your own work.
yes, very busy, I'm very busy.
I'm so sorry. I know how that feels. And
And
that,
then as do I with a father who was in Florida, passed away while I was 30 and taking meetings in Florida and doing all that kind of stuff. And when you're 3 hours ahead, it's 9 PM your time when it's 6 PM.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly, so I'll be on those meetings until like midnight on the busy ones.
I was in the library, stuff was going on, it was so much fun.
But I want to just acknowledge that, this is your service. And not your full-time job.
Well, it's important, right?
Yeah, of course it is, but it's a lot. And thanks for letting us.
Thank you.
Don't worry, I'm sure we break the problem.
I'll bring you back some bourbon from Kentucky.
Ooh, that's off the record.
Doesn't mean you need to drink it, you can just display it.
Anyway, any other comments, questions?
I have some questions. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Counselor Evans, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have some questions, of course.
Okay.
City council meeting next month. I do believe we want to reschedule because I don't think any of us want to be there on Memorial Day.
We will adjust that.
Yeah, let's talk about that at the next council meeting.
Yeah,
That
we'll
is
take
the
it.
next, you mean at the workshop?
No, our next council meeting is on the 26th of April.
Oh, the next month, yeah, or later this month. Okay, also,
Yes,
city
that's-
council
good.
application, when is that closing?
Well, I do have an applicant, that's that we need to interview for that, and it looks like we're gonna need another one here, possibly, so.
Have confirmation, I just,
I need to reopen it. I know why that was, because we put a deadline on thinking people would buy by the, beginning.
Oh, okay.
we only have one interest.
Good one.
I'm sorry, you guys aren't very loud right now.
Well, we technically adjourned the meeting, so.
Oh, I didn't know you did, I'm sorry.
What other questions did you have?
On the other one, did anybody get signed up for the LSC conference?
I'm not able to go, I've got a conflict unfortunately, so I can't. I don't know about anybody else though.
The deadline's over.
Yeah, are you going?
No, the deadline's over. I was out of state. I'm sorry. So I didn't know if anybody else got signed up.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like we're not gonna be there. We'll have to catch the next one, see how that.